Hi there, my name is Amber Horsley, and it is my deep privilege to be able to share how amazing our God is with you. And this one is a patient testimonial, or just how we can see God even in some of our other circumstances. One of my patients, she is 33 years old, and she has had digestive issues her entire life since she was a baby. She says that so many people enjoy food and do a lot of food things for pleasure, and she's like, I've just never understood that because food is terrible to me. It just, I get absolutely no pleasure from food. And when I saw her, she had done a food sensitivity test and was sensitive to pretty much everything. She had a very, very low amount of things that she could eat. And so she came to me to try to help that reintroduction process to be able to hopefully incorporate these foods in an easier way and expand her dietary horizons. And so while we were going through, after first visit, like, praise be to God, she was just like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling such a huge difference in these supplements. I have not felt this good in so long. Thank you so much. And she was just so excited. And so I was so excited. And I mean, definitely we're not perfect. So lots of issues, especially the first time she added something in. Just all of her normal symptoms were just like, she literally has to just go in bed and just light hurts, everything hurts, her body erupts. She cannot function like with anything. She's just eating. It's like, what? It's insane. And so she was doing so much better. And then spring break happened, and she introduced another food and had a couple things, and she just died. Like, just, I mean, all of her symptoms back like crazy, tenfold over. And so we came in, and I'm just like, okay, just trying to think through all the things. I'm like, goodness, like, we were doing so good. Like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, I want this for you. And so we started talking, and I was like, one of the other things in my mind is histamine imbalances, histamine intolerances. And so we started talking about some of the foods, and especially foods that are high in histamine. And as we were talking, avocado, or just in general, high histamine foods, a lot of them are the really good foods, like the ones that you would want to be eating, that like broccoli and avocado and some of these things that like you would go towards. And so anyway, she's looking at this list, and we're looking at it together. She's like, oh, I ate a lot of avocados over break. I ate a lot of that too. And okay. And so I'm like, okay, hey, let's play with that. You know, we're going to cut out all of our histamine things. We're going to, as much as we can, go off of, yes, your list of sensitivities, but especially this list too. Let's kind of see, touch base next week. She comes back the next week, and she's like, I feel so much better. So much better. And we were just so excited because we were making such good strides. And she's just like, you could just see just like so much hope and joy. And so we were like, wait, yeah, we're going to lean more into this. And so we just continued. And I mean, praise be to God, and hopefully it's the case. It seems like that was it. It was histamines, and that her whole life she was sensitive to histamines, but it's so rare. But also, again, it's the foods that you would want to be eating, and so most people aren't going to tell you, oh, don't eat those foods. And so we were able to find it. But how we found it is because she had to go backwards, like really far back down, to then be able to see what it was. We were doing so good. Like, we were right there. We're both like, yes, we figured it out. We were so excited. She had hope. She had joy. And then, we were going, doing so good, and then just crashed back down. And of course, that crash was devastating for her. She came back. She was like so frustrated because like, I had so much hope, and then it's gone. But then what happened? But then it was because of that crash. It was because of that low point that we were then able to see, oh, this is the whole root. This is the whole issue. We wouldn't have found it otherwise. It was because of that crash we were able to then put all the pieces together and be like, oh, wait, these are the things you were sensitive to. So all these other foods that you have sensitivities on your test, they're overreactions. Because she's been able to bring in all those other foods now, or a lot of them that are low histamine, but are on her sensitive list. But as long as she's really focusing on doing the low histamine things, she can add pretty much all foods back in. And so it is just so amazing and so beautiful, and she's overjoyed. But for me, it's also looking at that's life, you know? Sometimes in life, we have to hit that bottom. We have to hit those struggles. We have to go to that low point to then be able to see God. And that's when he calls us to him, or he's always calling. But oftentimes, unfortunately, that's when we're actually more able to listen, is when we realize we have to. There's no other option. And so I hope that you have ears to hear that, or this maybe that speaks into your life in different ways, or just understanding and seeing sometimes the struggles we go through, they're needed to get us to that other side. They're needed to cultivate in us that character, that perseverance, those skills to help us be successful and to be lights in that next season of life. I hope that brings you comfort, peace, joy, inspiration today.